I often get asked why I use sake so much in my recipes. And in this 4-part series, I'm exploring why it's such a magical ingredient and what you can do with it. In the last episode, we learned how sake is made and why it's capable of adding so much umami to food. Today, I want to explore whether sake works as an ingredient for non-Japanese cuisines, and the answer may surprise you, so stick around. To help me answer my questions about sake's potential for non-Japanese foods, I'm headed to meet up with Chef Dominique Corby at his French Cuisine restaurant in the Shimbashi district of Tokyo. Chef Corby has been cooking professionally since he was 15. Starting in traditional French kitchens in his homeland, he came to Tokyo in 1994 to work at the Japanese outpost of La Tour d'Argent. A little over 2 decades later, he opened his eponymous French Cuisine restaurant, which melds traditional French techniques with Japanese ingredients and a Cuisine-style dining experience. How would you describe your cuisine?
今出している料理は昔のフレンチと違ってカッポという料理なんですけど、フランス料理のベースにして、日本酒に料理使ったり、だしに使ったり、あとフランスのフォアグラで使ったり、鴨を出したりとかしてます。
Was there a story around the time that you discovered sake and you said, "Oh, I want to start using it"?
ホテルニュータに大阪行った時に、日本の食材使ってイベントはやり始まったんですよ。それで、これ初めて日本酒と料理と合わせたことですよ。だから2002年ぐらいの時から。で、だんだん私も、日本酒も好きだ。自分、個人的にもすごく好きだったんで、で、料理とどんどん合わせて。
How important would you consider sake within your cuisine?
すごく重要なことだけじゃなくて、うちらは今ワイン出したり、日本酒も出すんですよ。飲み物としてじゃなくて、マリアージュ。だから中も日本酒も使ったり、だし使ったり、味噌使ったりすると、ワイン合わないんですよ。口にも全く合わない。
Finally, do you have any tips or tricks that people might be able to learn in order to use sake in their home cooking?
はい、あります。もちろん日本酒によって味も変わってますけど、ワインの代わりにちょっと日本酒使ってみれば多分いけると思うんです。だから世界で日本酒ぜひ使ってください。
After our chat, Chef Corby prepared a dish for me using 2 types of sake, and it looks French, but let's see how it tastes. Wow, this looks amazing. I can't wait to try it out. It smells fantastic. The fish is perfectly cooked. You get the fragrance of the sake. It's got a subtle sweetness, and you get that rich umami that comes from the sake. I think I'm going to switch to a spoon because I want to get some of this great sauce. Oh, that's delicious. It's creamy, it's rich, and you get a little bit of that sort of nutty fermented flavor. And then that mellow sweetness and a ton of umami. Wow, that's just heavenly. I don't know about you, but as soon as Chef Corby mentioned using sake as a substitute for wine, I knew exactly what I want to try making today. Spaghetti alle vongole is a classic Italian pasta made by steaming clams in white wine and then tossing the resulting emulsion of clam juices and olive oil with pasta. If you watched part 2 of this series, you know that sake contains the amino acid alanine, which is abundant in clams, so I think it's gonna go great with this dish. The first thing we need to do is figure out what kind of sake is gonna work best with our vongole. And to do that, our sponsor for this series, Hakutsuru, has sent over 3 very different bottles of sake that I'm gonna try out. First up, we have Hakutsuru's Junmai, which has had the rice milled down to 70% of its original size. This low mill ratio should mean it contains more amino acids. Okay, this is what I imagine when someone says the word sake. It's clean and light with a dry finish that's not too sweet. And because of its low polish ratio, I can taste the umami lingering on my tongue.
I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the one, but let's try the others out as well. Next up, we have Hakutsuru's Shoun Daiginjo, which has a mill ratio of 50%, which should make it more fragrant, but it'll be at the expense of umami. Okay, wow. The first thing I noticed with this one is the aroma. I get the sweet aromas of peaches and pears and some apples on the nose. But when you take a sip, it's light and it has a really clean finish. The last sake is Hakutsuru Sayuri, which is the Nigori sake, and as you can see by its cloudy appearance, it's only been lightly filtered. Oh yeah, that's sweet, rich, and creamy. This will be delicious in a dessert, but it's not gonna work for our vongole, so I think I'm gonna go with our junmai. Let's have a look at our other ingredients. The first thing you're gonna need are some clams, and I'm preparing some well-salted water that I'm dumping 200 grams of manila clams into. These are gonna go into a fridge overnight so they can siphon out any grit they may have ingested, and you'll wanna rinse them off before you use them. I've also got 200 grams of spaghetti, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a very large clove of garlic, a handful of parsley, a Meyer lemon, and some salt. Let's start by smashing, peeling, and roughly chopping the garlic. Then I'm gonna remove the stems and mince up the parsley leaves. I'm using flat leaf, but curly leaf will work as well. Okay, our prep's done and I have a pot of boiling water here that I'm gonna add a moderate amount of salt to. Then I'm gonna add the spaghetti and get it submerged. Be sure to set a timer for about a minute less than what the package says so we can finish cooking it in the clam juices. Unless you're using fresh pasta, I recommend cooking it in as little water as possible so your water ends up nice and starchy. I know this is contrary to common wisdom, but I'll explain more later. About 5 minutes before the pasta is done, I'm gonna start heating a frying pan over medium heat, and about 3 minutes before the pasta is done, I'm gonna add the olive oil and garlic. You want to get the fragrance of the garlic into the oil, but you don't want the garlic to brown, so when it starts smelling good, add the clams. Then I'm gonna add a 1/3 cup of sake and cover it immediately with the lid. If the liquid isn't boiling, be sure to turn up the heat so that it is. Now you want to let these steam until most of the clams open up. When about 3/4 of them have opened, remove the lid and finish cooking the clams without the lid. The idea here is to burn off the alcohol in the sake, so if it's not at a full boil, go ahead and turn up the heat. When the clams are all opened and it no longer smells like alcohol, transfer the pasta straight into the pan with the clams. You'll want some of the boiling liquid to move into the pan with the clams because this starchy liquid is gonna emulsify with the olive oil and sake, and this is what's gonna make the sauce for our pasta. Okay, I'm gonna set the pot aside, but don't toss the water yet because you may need to add more of it if your pasta starts getting dry. Now I'm gonna give the sauce a taste. Some clams can be very salty, but these weren't too strong, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a bit more salt. Give that a few more tosses. Then I'm gonna add some Meyer lemon zest. This is optional, but I like the bright flavor it adds since we're not adding any wine. I'm also gonna squeeze some lemon juice into this to compensate for the lack of acidity in the sake. I'm gonna finish this off with some parsley, toss that together, and let's get this plated up. If you've ever wondered how restaurants get those nice nests of pasta, this is how it's done. You can either use a big ladle or a small bowl along with a pair of tongs to twirl up the pasta and deposit it on your plate. Let's get some more clams on there. Sprinkle on some more parsley. Get some lemon wedges in there. And our spaghetti alle vongole is done. All right, let's try this out. It smells so amazing. Wow, that's insanely good. The clam juices and the olive oil have created this kind of emulsion that just coats every strand of spaghetti. And the amino acids in the sake bring out the sweetness of the clams, where you get a nice minerality that sort of teams up with the parsley and lemon to give it this nice fresh zing at the end. Oh man, that's perfect. Be sure to check out the links in the description down below for Chef Corby's restaurant. And if you want to pick up a bottle of Hakutsuru Junmai to try out my spaghetti alle vongole, I'll include a link to that as well. In the fourth and final episode of this series, I'm going to be exploring sake and sweets, so hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss out.